Hare Everybody a little louder, please. Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. One more time again, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time again with your heart. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, very loudly, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today, we are very happy to have Maharaj on the call, and we are continuing with the Srimad Bhagavatam series of our second canto, first chapter, verse number 27 onwards. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and association for all of us. You can please. I'll share. Please take.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dvaijanuni Sutalam Vishvamurtir. Uram Dvayam Vitalam Chatalam Cha. Mahitalam Taj Jaganam Mahipate. Nabastalam Nabi Suro Yanati. The knees of the universal form of the planetary systems of the name Sutala. The two thighs are called Vitala and Atala planetary systems. The hips are Mahitala, and the outer space is the depression of his navel. Here we're getting another description of the universal form and how the different planetary systems align with the form of the Lord. Next. Urastalam Jyotir Anikam Asya Griva Mahar Vadanam Vaisujanosha Tapo Varatim Vidur Ari Pumsham Satyam Tushir Sani Sarasir Sanaha. The chest of the original personality of the gigantic form is the luminary planetary system. His neck is the Maha planets, his mouth is Jana planets, and his forehead is the Tapas planetary system. The topmost planetary system, known as Satyaloka, is the head of he who has 1,000 heads. Purport. The effulgent luminary planets like the sun and the moon are situated almost in the mid-place of the universe, and as such, they are not to be known as the chest of the original gigantic form of the Lord. And above the luminary planets called also the heavenly planets of the universal dictoriate demigods are the Mahar, Janas, Tapas planetary systems, and Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. This Vishnu is known as Shirodakshay Vishnu, and he acts as the super soul in every living being. There are numerous universes floating on the cosmic ocean, and each of them, the representative of the Virat form of the Lord, is there along with the numerous suns, moons, heavenly planets, Brahmas, Shivas, and Vishnus. All of them are situated in one part of the inconceivable potency of the Lord, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 10:4-2. Om Dhyanti Mirandasya Gena Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Desatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Vipa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. This chapter is entitled The First Step in God Realization. And so it's giving a overview in an imaginary sense of the universal arrangements as it aligns with the imaginary form of the Lord. The universe form is imaginary, but it has a purpose in order to imprint upon the materialists and those who have a little knowledge of devotion that the universal manifestations are non-different than the Lord. This is the main thing, that the creation and the creator are same and different at the same time. And it's inconceivable. That's why it's called achintya. Beta and abeta, same and different. And for the devotees, they have this knowledge already that everything is the creation of the Lord and everything is the energy of the Lord working in a certain way, carry on the universal affairs. You see, in any government, there's a very complex system of echelons on different levels. You have the president, then you have the cabinet members, parliament, and sometimes they talk about the US, they call it Congress and the Senate. And you have their assistants. Then you have the different agencies that carry out different services for people on different people who have different needs, health and welfare, the military, all of these are different echelons or different compartments of the universe of the government. And so you have state government, you have local government, you have federal government, and all of it is very complex in terms of how the system works. Of course, in the material world, nothing works perfectly, but still there is a system. So here we see that there is also a system of organization that makes up the universal structure, how all of this is working under the guidance of the Supreme Lord. And in one sense, as we mentioned, it is the energy of the Lord. And because it's the energy of the Lord, it is connected with the Lord directly. And therefore, in one sense, one can see the Lord through his energy. Devotees also can understand this principle, that all of the things in this material world are simply the paraphernalia of the Lord. Whether it's the initial creation, the secondary creation, or the expansion of the secondary creation. There's three levels. What Krishna creates is the ingredients for creation. What Brahma takes and formulates into different forms is the secondary creation. And what we do with those forms and the ingredients that make up the forms is the third level of creation. So we are also creators. We create cars, we create computers, we create desks, create houses. We take the secondary creation along with the ingredients of the primary creation, formulate it together, and we create a somewhat of a materialistic civilization based on all of these amenities. So all of this is highly organized. And you see unless there's organization on all levels of creation or a system of organization that works to make everything functionable according to its particular need. In other words, you'll see, for instance, astrology. There is the perfect science. It's also mentioned in, it's called Jyotir Veda. Those who know the science of astrology can study the planetary alignments and the movements of these alignments and see exactly what's happening on the lower level. And they can also predict future based on how the alignments continue to develop and play themselves out in different ways. So sometimes we use the as below, so above, or as above, so below. So everything is tightly controlled. At least Krishna's creation is. What we create is not so tightly controlled because we're trying to be a controller of something that is not meant for us to control. Therefore, when we try to control the material energy, we become controlled by that same energy we try to control. And the energy, although it's inferior to the living entities in the material world, it acts in a controlling way to subordinate the living entities to a type of limited control wherein people struggle in order to try to arrange things for their own sense gratification. Because sense gratification for the living entity is not natural, therefore they can never make an organization where they can get continual sense gratification. It's not possible because the living entities are not meant to enjoy sense gratification. They're meant to take the energy of the Lord and use their senses, intelligence, mind, and creative abilities to take those energies and offer them to the Lord in devotion and not try to enjoy them separately. When the living entity tries to enjoy separately, he creates a fiasco. He creates so many problems. And then they make another plan to try to solve the problems that they create because they don't know the purpose of the creation. And that becomes a greater problem. Prahlad Maharaj gives a very direct line. He says, material solutions to material problems are more problematic than the problems. They create a greater problem when we apply material solutions to material problems. So to get out of that, what we say, spiraling effect of worry, struggling, making plans, getting results, and then struggling to deal with the results because the results are never up to par. Even if they appear to be satisfactory, the time element and the movement of the three modes of material energy, these three modes, are constantly in flux. They never stay in one. In other words, they don't really continue to act in the same way because they're always being mixed with the other modes. And so as the mixtures make, there is always varieties and changes in that. For instance, there are 8,400,000 species of life. That means 8,400,000 different types of bodies. The soul is one, but the bodies are varieties. So when these three modes mix in different ways, you get a particular manifestation of that mixture in the form of a particular type of body. So just like if you take three colors, yellow, red, and blue, these are the primary colors. An expert artist or a person who knows colors can make thousands and thousands of colors out of these three colors by mixing them in different proportions. Mix and remix and remix and remix. And then you have so many different colors. We call it different shades, but shades are also a variety of color within a particular color. So that's why you have 8,400,000 species of life. The modes are mixing so much that it's creating these different kinds of bodies. And these 8,400,000 species of life were categorized into 5 categories: aquatics, birds, plants, trees, and insects. They're all in one category. Beasts, and then human forms. These are the 5 categories. Outside of that, there is nothing else within the creative energy. So here, going back to the essence here, why is this being explained in the Bhagavatam in an imaginary sense? Because this leads to a possibility of higher realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so one who knows this knows that everything in the universe is actually the energy of God. And it represents God in the different functions that it manifests. But matter cannot move unless there is life. Just like our bodies may be made up a nice arrangement, arms and legs and bellies and intestines, blood, marrow, various types of secretions and organ functions. But unless there's a life to give all of that energy, it's just dead matter. That's all it is. Has no life. So the life behind the universe we see are the different devas. But where did the devas, the demigods, they get their life, and they also get the intelligence they require in order to manage the universal affairs. Demigods are managers. They're kshatriyas, and they are managing the universal affair according to the desire of the Supreme Lord. They don't act outside of the Lord's desire. If they do sometimes. Situations occur where a demigod might try to act independently. But then again, because of the highly arranged universal structure, that causes that demigod to find himself in a very awkward position. Because just like sometimes people say, well, there's so many nuclear weapons on the earth and they can destroy the earth if there's a major war. But the earth cannot be destroyed. The earth can be, what we say, sent into upheaval and difficulty, and destruction can happen on many levels, but it can never be totally destroyed because it's under the control of higher powers. And just like when your body is sick, you have a thing called built-in system. It's called your immune system. Now, when the body gets sick, the immune system starts to activate and it starts to attack those diseases along with the help of medicines and other things. The immune system helps to bring back or at least prevent severity in diseases. And that's part of the body. So there's an immune system in the universal structure too, and in each of the planets. So no one can destroy the planets because the immune system in the planet will cause upheavals for those who try to do that, and then start to bring, just like we see there are many hurricanes and droughts and what we say, pestilence. All these things come as a reaction to the living entity for working outside of the law of the Supreme Lord. Everything is highly arranged like that. So, and all of these calamities are meant simply to bring things back to where they should be. It's just like when you're reforming a person who is a thief or an offender, first comes the punishment and then comes the reformation. So material energy will work like that as the living entities work outside of the instructions given by the Lord for the livelihood that they need in this material world. And so this built-in immune system within the earth will again disrupt all attempts, because the earth is a living being. She's called Bhumi Devi. When Bhumi Devi got so overburdened with military defense forces 5,000 years ago, she manifested her form and went to see Lord Brahma and explained that the demons have set up so many military phalanxes all over the earth, and it's causing me a great burden. Well, then Brahma called some of the leading demigods, Indra, Chandra, Surya, and of course, Brihaspati, and they all went to the shore of the Milk Ocean to petition the Lord to do something about the burden of the earth. And he did. He manifested himself as Krishna. He came, and that was Janmashtami. He came. He didn't come only for that reason. That was secondary. The primary reason was to perform his pastimes with his devotees in Vrindavan. We just celebrated Janmashtami. So the essence of Janmashtami is Krishna coming and displaying his transcendental pastimes with his intimate, loving devotees in his favorite place, which manifested in this material world as Sri Vrindavan Dham. And then this Prakat Leela, he displays his relationships in the different rasas as Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras, just to give pleasure to his devotees and to practice these different rasas for his own transcendental pleasure. And at the same time, teach, and this is the important part, teach that devotional service means to come to the point of developing love for God in one of these 5 rasas. This is Chaitanya, which are mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so he displays that. But here, for those who not are able to come up to that level and have some idea that there is a supreme power within creation, the Lord manifests his Virat Roop as an imaginary form to help these persons realize that all of creation is non-different in one sense to the transcendental form of the Lord, although it's imaginary. It's just like sometimes, when kids are small, they see us driving cars and riding in trains and buses. So they want to play too. So we give them toy trains, toy dolls, toy things that are bigger in the material world. the little girl, she wants to be a homemaker, so they give her a little dollhouse with a little sink. And it has different rooms in the house, and she kind of like playing like she's a grown-up. So it's the same way for the non-devotees. They get this idea, and they try to manipulate the material. And so it's just like child's play. So, but unfortunately, in the material world, it's dangerous child's play. Okay. These are some points that we can think about.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Such a wonderful class. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments, realizations, you can please go ahead now. And please turn on your cameras wherever you are, if possible. Thank you. We'll wait for everyone to turn on the cameras, Maharaj.
Yeah. This is a personal movement, so we can't take your picture unless we can see you. Amrita Sundari, I knew you could do it.
Yeah.
Sukala, why are you hiding? Come on out, Sukava. Okay, there you are. Silpesh. Rasavilas Radha. She likes to be in the forefront. What happened? Come on.
Yeah.
But that old Paul, he likes to hide. Jagadish is coming along with his good wife. All right, we're
Yes,
getting.
madam. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Srimati. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So in the description where each part of the transcendental body of the Lord is said to be the mouth, the forehead, etc. But we also hear how the Srimad Bhagavatam is describing or is representing all these different parts of the Lord. How can we correlate, or this is not to be correlated with the present description?
It's not to be correlated.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Maharaj, I was thinking like these different universes are there and different planets. So Krishna is doing all the pastimes every time in all the universes. And do we also take birth in those universes, Maharaj, or do we relate it only particular universe?
What is the question?
So, this soul, so we are taking birth in this material universe right now, in this particular universe. So just like that, do we take birth in other universes too? If we are not going to go back to Godhead?
You can. Kardanam guna sangasyo sarasat joni janmasu.
Mm.
So Karnam cause Jadasona Karna Guna Sangosyo Sarasat, higher or lower. Sometimes we take birth in the earth, sometimes we take birth in another planet, sometimes we take birth in heaven. So life after life, we're traversing the different levels of universal echelon. When we get tired of that, then we start, wasn't there any stable place in this universal fair? No, there isn't. It's like if you want to be stable on a merry-go-round. You've seen these merry-go-rounds they have for kids. The little horses are going up and down and around and around. So that's us. Up and down, higher and lower, around and around, birth, death, disease, and old age.
So they have different bodies, and so they also discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam. I was
Well, Bhagavatam is known in different levels, not in the lower planets, but on the higher planets, Bhagavatam is there. Srila Jiva Goswami mentions in his Tattva Sandarbha that in the heavenly planets, Bhagavatam has 1 billion verses.
mm,
1 billion.
wow.
So Bhagavatam is there. Bhagavatam means the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Bhagavatam is there, but not in the lower planets, because unless somebody goes preaching in the lower planets and brings Bhagavatam, which is possible.
Okay, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Dear devotees, any questions or comments?
You see, even on this planet, Bhagavatam is not in every country.
Mm,
We were making a great effort. Maybe you would like to help out. This is I'm not saying you have to, but you know, Shiva Ram Maharaj did this swim across the Thames River in the UK.
yes, ma'am.
He did it to raise funds so they can produce a Bhagavatam in the Islamic language, because there are devotees in Islamic countries who are worshiping the Supreme Lord as Krishna. So we want to also have the opportunity to give them the scriptures that they need, so they can read those. We were hearing some reports on how the devotees were preaching in these different countries. Prabhupada said, if anyone who preaches in the Islamic countries, said, I take the dust of their lotus feet on my head. He said that. Anybody want to go to one of the Islamic countries and start preaching? You'll get the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada for sure. But yeah, so this is an example how Bhagavatam, we're trying to get it out in as many languages as possible. But it's not everywhere in the world. It's only in certain places.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you. Amritaran Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, you talked about the primary creation and the secondary creation. So, primary creation is done by Lord Brahma as as um, as given instruction by the Supreme Lord. But the secondary creation, when we do on our level, how do we understand where to limit ourselves in the secondary creation? Because then doing the secondary creation, we mess up with the primary creation.
Yeah, well, how much of this stuff that is produced in the modern countries are actually necessary? There's been a statistic, which I quote, that in 1850, this is in America, 95% of the items on the marketplace were considered to be necessity. 5% were considered to be luxury. Now the statistics have reversed. So we have more luxuries on the markets now than we have necessities. How many kinds of computers are there? How many types of watches are there? How many types of cell phones are there? So they're always taking something and trying to make it even better or newer, which is really not necessary. It's this fascination usually it's more like an economic adventure to keep producing these things and sell them back to people so a handful of people can make some profit. That's all it is. But what do you actually need to live? When you come right down to it, what do you actually need to live? We're talking about needs. You need a place to live. You need food. You need clothing. You need medicines. And you need some system of education. And maybe some conveyances to move around. That's it. But they take all of these luxuries and just turn them into more and more different types of luxuries for the sake of. So we're raping the earth of all of the resources rather than rather than using these things to serve the Lord with. That's why Prabhupada said we should go back to a more simplified lifestyle and take what God has given to us. I just came back from New Rajadam in Hungary. It's an amazing place. They're practically self-sufficient. They're even growing. This is amazing. I didn't think it could possibly. They're growing pomegranates in Hungary. I had them for breakfast this morning. Usually you get pomegranates in the Asian countries, right? Growing them in Hungary. So they have more than 50 or 60 types of vegetables, fruit trees. They get all their water from the wells that are on the land. They don't have any electricity. It's all solar power. And everything is functioning nicely. Takes a while to develop it, but once it's developed, it's a convenient luxury. And there's very little overhead to maintain it either. And they take the raw materials and they build houses. So that model is what Prabhupada wanted for the whole society. Because God has provided everything we need. So we live beyond our needs. And that's why we don't have time for Krishna. It's too much living instead of actually living. Artificial living instead of real living.
It is making interruption in the nature as well. When we see that scientists, they there are, as you mentioned, as Bhagavatam is and Bhagavad Gita is telling us, there's enough species created by Lord himself, but still they do genetic modifications and try to create fruits and vegetables and animals also, which disrupts the nature.
Yeah, and usually they create some hybrid that causes more problems. They did that with some plants, and what happened was all these thorny bushes grew up instead. And they had this big array of thorny bushes. There's many examples in the past when there are attempts to do that has simply caused more problems. But because they're demons, they still keep doing it. They want to play God. And so they play their, just like, a little kid wants to play like their father. So they get a little toy house and they play everything. So the living entities in this world, especially those who are infested with demoniac natures, they want to play God. And they want to manipulate the material energy in different ways, just so they can gratify their senses in different ways.
Yes, Gurmaharaj. So, Gurmaharaj, New Rajdam, is it 100% self-sustainable community?
It's moving in that direction. They have, they have about 200 people living on the land, and they have another 200 in the village right outside of the land. So the community is growing like leaps and bounds, and there's more and more programs. But they do kirtan every night in the temple for at least 2 hours. It's not just simply farming, because the understanding is when you glorify the Lord will arrange everything nicely for you. The kirtan is their actual life and soul. Last night we finished with Prabhupada's program right after the lunch offering. We had a feast. And then at about 7 o'clock at night, the devotees gathered for kirtan. We went on to 10 o'clock doing kirtan for 3 hours. Didi stayed open too. It's quite amazing. So yeah, if you want to learn what Krishna consciousness is, at least in a very simplified form of lifestyle, along with all of the activities we perform, just go visit New Rajadam. The deity worship
Thank
is way beyond any deity worship anywhere else too. Deities are exquisitely taken care of.
They're
Krishna,
one of my favorite deities, Guru Maharaj. I just simply love them. They're so personal.
you've been there?
No, but I take darshan every day online. I simply love them. Especially Radharani. She's amazing.
Yeah, they look, Radha and Krishna look like they're going to walk off the altar and talk to you.
Yeah.
So Radharani is so petite and Krishna is so powerful.
Yes, so much.
Yeah,
I have
so
a desire to be there someday.
yeah. Drinking water from the wells, it's all pure water. You don't get this polluted water you get from the city. You can't drink any of this, the water coming from the pipes in the cities. If it doesn't have chlorine in it, it has, what is that other thing? That thing they put in toothpaste, what is that thing?
Fluoride.
Fluoride.
Yeah, fluoride makes your brain dull. That's been proven. The Nazis used fluoride in the concentration camps to dull people. They poured tons and tons of fluoride into the water. So throw away all your fluoride toothpaste. I did.
Thank you, Maharaj. With your mercy, maybe we can all go to New Rajdam one day.
Or you can start and build. You got something going in Dallas,
Yes, Maharaj.
and somehow or other learn what it means to really develop self-sufficiency. You'll see how life it takes a while, there's no question. It takes leadership, takes organization, takes intelligence, takes time. But once it's established, it's ideal.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
I had a question about something else, but I got sidetracked when Amrita was talking about the beautiful deities of Hungary. Guru Maharaj, if I may, I'd like to share one small incident which took place when I visited Hungary. I was standing and taking darshan, and they were so mesmerizing, they were so beautiful. And in my heart, I was thinking, how I wish I could sing for you. I just that a thought came in my mind, and that was it. And within an hour, I was supposed to catch a train and go back to Ljubljana. So we all go to the station, and then the ticket master, whoever he was, he says, "No, no, 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 you cannot go by this train. You have to catch the next train in the evening or something like that." I said, "What happened?" "No, no, no, I don't know. This is not okay." That something, some excuse. I just couldn't catch the train. So back again, we had to come to the temple. And then for Gaura Arati, there was nobody in the temple room to lead the kirtan. I just grabbed the kartals and started singing for the deities. And Susanna, myself, and a few other people, we were dancing to our heart's content. And I realized this is why they didn't allow me to get on that train, so that my desire to sing for them would be fulfilled. Because later on, you told me you're turning the whole Hungarian yatra upside down. No ladies allowed to sing here.
Well, I guess your desire was pure.
Jai.
Oh, nice story. Be careful what you desire.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. Thank you.
Anything
you-
else? Any other questions?
Yeah, any questions or comments? Yeah.
Where's
Big
Somadatri? Is he still there?
Somadatri. So, yeah, she's there.
Where are you, Somya?
Mataji.
Where are you?
You're on mute, Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. I'm in Golokadam.
Oh, you're
Now I'm
in Germany.
in Germany. Yes, I'm here with Vishnu Priya and other devotees. I was here in Jamashtami to spend Jamashtami time.
Wonderful.
Yes. And now I am with them and take prasadam, but I'm like to hear anywhere. I couldn't.
Don't forget to bring some Mahaprasadam back.
Yeah, I will. I will bring and I will come. Lendava and I will come.
We have a question coming from
Yes,
Big-
Maharaj. Yeah. Big
Piku and Padmavati, is it? Prabhavati.
Prabhavati.
Hare Krishna, Prabhavati.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept our Dandvat Pranams, humble obeisances. We really look forward to see you soon. Recently, we enjoyed festival of the Janmashtami, and the model which you mentioned in Hungary is something one dreams of, but hope we get a chance to at least experience it. I have a question. This is, as you mentioned earlier, that the universal form is imaginary, and there are so many universes. We are part of this universe that we are in, and I realize how insignificant we are compared to, but the universal form shown to Arjun on the battlefield, how did that kind of come about if it's imaginary in one hand, and on the other hand, Arjuna sees the display of the power? Hare Krishna.
No, well, the universal form, as described here, is just an imprint on the arrangement of the universe. What Krishna showed to Arjuna was completely different. He showed him the universal form to show that within the universe, he is actually there in his different features. That's all. He showed the horrible manifestations of the universe, and he showed the very pleasing manifestations. If you actually see a picture, you'll see the different forms of the Lord he took to show Arjuna. But Arjuna wasn't so interested in that. He said, take it away. Just bring back your two-armed form as Krishna. But it's a majestic form for those who require that type of knowledge in order to worship the Lord or to experience the Lord as the supreme power in existence. That's all.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
It's not for devotees so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sridhar Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Shrimati. I remembered my question, Guru Maharaj. You were speaking of the self-sufficient farm community at Hungary, and you were describing how they're completely off the grid and they are having solar power. Now, my understanding, and I could be wrong, that establishing solar power is very, very expensive business because the material to make those solar cell panels and batteries, etc., is coming. I don't know the details, but I've heard that all those things cost a lot of money to make even that solar panel possible. So does it mean to start a farm community, one would need a lot of Lakshmi before we can even, begin?
That's not the first part of this one.
Okay.
It may not even be necessary either. First thing is plant crops. That's the first thing. Opposite agriculture first. Well, you can still have, the regular power sources that come from the outside, but gradually you can move away from that. But it's not the beginning. Beginning is first agriculture. When agriculture is established, then you can bring in the cows. And then you can develop various types of what we say organic systems of living, such as making your own cloth, growing plants, and there's different plants. You take those plants and then you make clothes out of them. So don't even think about solar power. Don't worry about that.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Any
Yes.
other questions?
Yeah, Maharaj, I was thinking, like, as devotees, any questions or comments? As there are no more questions, can I request you, like, a little bit talk about Srila Prabhupada, because yesterday was the Vyasa Puja day. We just want to hear from you about Srila Prabhupada's goodness.
Well, I'll read something for you.
Sure, thank you.
I wanted to read this yesterday, but I wasn't able to get it. Everybody has to be completely attentive. Listen to this. All right? This is something you don't want to miss. Turn on your ears and listen very closely. First of all, I'll give you the source. Govinda Dasi, one of Prabhupada's first female disciples found some old Indian newspapers in the 1970s in her attic in boxes. And in one had an article about Srila Prabhupada written by an astrologer. Listen to this now. Amrita, you listening? Okay. Here's the astrologer. It's very short, but it's powerful. Nobody can read this chart. If they say they can, they are simply lying. This personality comes and goes at his own sweet will. He is not bound by anyone or anything. The stars are lined up perfectly. There is no question of karma. He is working directly under the will of God. And when he writes, his pen does not have in it ink. His pen has in it fire, which will burn the ignorance of the whole world.
Wow. Yeah.
Pretty heavy. Pretty nice. Huh? Your Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
That's powerful. That's from an astrologer. Nobody can read this chart. If they say they can, they are simply lying. This personality comes and goes at his own sweet will. He is not bound by anybody or anything. The stars are lined up perfectly. There's no question of karma. He is working directly under the will of God. And when he writes, his pen does not have in it ink. His pen has in it fire, which will turn the ignorance, which will burn the ignorance of the whole world. Anything else you want to know about Prabhupada? He's Nitya Siddha. He came from the spiritual world to do this work. Came to make a revolution, spiritual revolution, in the most darkest time in the history of human culture, when everything is turning into chaos. He came at a time when the world was pretty much dissatisfied with material life, but at the same time with no alternative. So read Prabhupada's books.
So what would be the greatest service to Srila Prabhupada? Good.
Greatest service?
Yeah.
He said, my most important instruction to my disciple is that they chant 16 rounds on beads every day without fail. He also gave us many other important instructions, such as reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, every day for at least 2 hours or even more. He also gave us instructions to have kirtan in the temples every night for at least 3 hours. Gave us so many instructions. He talked about material things and how they're so dysfunctional in the way the Western society uses them. He talked about ideal material culture, going back to the Vedic culture. Talked about medicine, talked about astrology, talked about temples, talked about everything. Covered everything. Whatever you want to learn in the absolute sense, just connect it, look it up in something that Prabhupada said about it. You'll find it. It's in the database.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank
And
you.
the thing about Prabhupada, he was tireless.
Mm.
And it wasn't easy for Prabhupada. Don't think it was easy. We were talking about that yesterday in our glorification of Prabhupada. What struggles he had to establish his Krishna consciousness. What he had to work with. What he had to do to write and translate his books. There was no money. There were no qualified people came along at the age of 70. Think about it. Would anybody set out on a spiritual journey in another country with no money at the age of 70 to start a worldwide movement in a culture that was so much aligned with material amenities? Impossible. Now, this is Lord Chaitanya's plan, and he's direct representative of Lord Chaitanya's mission to spread Krishna consciousness around the world. We follow Srila Prabhupada. We also pray to him. We're all sitting here discussing Krishna consciousness only because of Srila Prabhupada, that we're actually doing what we're doing.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Not only started it, he's continuing it through his different energies.
He must be there in different planets now, preaching. He must be in different planet now preaching.
Prabhupada, yeah, he wanted to, when one of his leading disciples said to Prabhupada, is there some devotees who stay in the material world and never go back home, back to Godhead? Prabhupada said yes. And he got really animated. He said yes, there's those who want to dedicate their lives to serve the Supreme Lord by preaching Krishna consciousness anywhere and everywhere, life after life, bringing more and more souls to Krishna. When Prabhupada heard that, when he heard that question, he got so enlightened. But he's one of them.
Yeah.
He talks about his relationship with Krishna, very personal sometimes he talks about. He doesn't talk about the mood, but he talks about his interactions with Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such a wonderful pastime. Thank you so much for sharing.
So, yeah, Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, as it's described, is the most important day to celebrate for the Vaishnava community.
Yes, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any last minute questions or comments? Maharaj, can we chant? Oh, Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Guru
I-
Maharaj, your description is making me very animated to share a little something about Srila Prabhupada in his Murti form. May I share that?
Yeah.
So, Srila Prabhupada is very much there. His Murti form is seeing everything, watching everything, guiding everything, correcting. I was in New Thalawan once, and usually there always would be a morning program, morning class. But somehow that day, everyone had disappeared from the temple room. I had washed the Guru Puja plates and I came out, and nobody was around. So I said, okay, no class today. And I started walking out. I'd almost reached the door when I heard Prabhupada say, what about class? I want to hear something. I was shocked. I couldn't believe my ears at first. And then I walked back inside. I opened Krishna book and I read for 45 minutes sitting down next to Prabhupada just because he said, I want to hear something. What about class?
Remember
Thank you.
that. Don't forget.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Maharaj, I just want to announce tomorrow's class before we start chanting.
Okay.
Tomorrow's class is with Bhakti Sangha devotees. The time will be 12:20 p.m. UK time. And the verse number is 7, 9, 48. Seventh canto, 9th chapter, 48 verse.
Okay.
Thank you so much, dear devotees.
Good. So,
Minutes later than our regular time.
okay.
Thank you.
I sent that statement I read
Yes,
to
Maharaj.
he and also to Sri Devi.
Yeah,
You can share it with the other devotees.
yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I will. Thank you so much.
Quite powerful.
Thank you.
Prabhupada could be really practical. I'll tell you one story one devotee was telling yesterday. So when Prabhupada was walking, I think it's a place in America called Russell Square. You know where that is? Anybody?
No, Maharaj.
And Prabhupada was there walking, and then there was a big pile of bird poop on the ground. And Prabhupada stopped, turned to his devotees, pointed to the pile, and he said, "What does that mean?" Can you imagine that? Prabhupada asking you, what does a big pile of bird poop mean? So devotees are looking this way and that way. They're thinking, what's Prabhupada doing? And then Prabhupada gave the answer. He said, even the birds are attached to their homes.
Means, sorry, Maharaj, I didn't understand.
Even the bird is attached to his home.
Oh,
They live in the same tree, and that's where all that stuff piles up. So we get our home and we pile it up too. It's called the bathroom. Anyway, that's another story. But the point is, it's attachment. That's what the point is. That the living entity gets attached to things in this world, and then the attachment becomes just so deep. Prabhupada talks about the man who's dying. He's dying and he's still giving instructions to the family members what to do after he's dying. He's not going to be around anymore. He's not going to even know what's going on, but he's still giving the instructions. Instead of worrying about where he's going, he's still trying to make plans to fix things where he is, which he'll be gone in a few moments or more. So material attachment is broken by sadhu sangha and by chanting the holy names, these two things.
thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. So,
Okay, ready?
yes, Maharaj.
I'm not gonna stop and then announce anything. I'm just gonna disappear from the screen, so you can continue. You can continue on if you like.
Yes, Maharaj.
So you can chant as long as you want. That way, I don't have to interrupt your chanting. You can continue.
Thank you so much for your class and nice question answer session and about Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.